checking out my video on the Crow Pebble blushes from their Forbidden Joy blush collection. I'll share my swatches, how I applied them, how they look on my cheeks, and then share my thoughts and experiences with these and the brand. As a little intro, I'll share how I found out about them and a little bit of information about them as well. As mentioned in previous videos, I'm looking for more UK and European-based indie brands that are cruelty-free. While I'm still covering international brands, I think there's a good amount of us who would be interested in European makeup that might be easier to afford and easy to access for some of us, but we don't see as much of. So I first heard Crow Pebble being mentioned for their eye primer on 4F Beauty's video on a palette review. I'll link to one of her videos on Crow Pebble below in the description box, so go check her out. That's when I looked them up and checked out their products, and I love the concept and aesthetics behind them. It's a one-woman UK indie brand based in Scotland, and it's run by Karen, whose passion for history, culture, storytelling is all brought out in every single makeup. Crow Pebble's name is inspired by a fable by the Greek storyteller Aesop, and it's called The Crow and the Pitcher. I'll link a great video that tells this short story in the description box below. But a couple of morals in the stories includes persistence and wit winning solutions. Products are described as artisan makeup as they're made individually, and they're cruelty-free and vegan. They're not yet listed on the likes of PETA, but the ingredients listed do appear vegan. Moving on to the blushes, I bought 3 shades as samples in jars. You can also get them in a little baggie like this, as I did with the highlighter, which works out a little cheaper if you're trying out the sample, and you can also get a half jar or a full jar of the product. The first blush I picked is called Bingley's Blush and Cheeks, and it's inspired by Jane Austen's book Pride and Prejudice, where Jane announces to her sister that Darcy has proposed. It's a maroon red shade with a hint of shimmer as well. Here you can see a bit of the shimmer. The next blush I picked is called Lady of the Stars, She Without Equal. Its inspiration comes from Ketesh, the goddess of love, fertility and pleasure. So her blush is seen as blue for the deep indigo in the starry sky and the blue lotus flowers she carries. So for me, this is a really unique blush shade. It's a matte blush and it's got a beautiful cornflower colour to it. The third blush I chose is called Mother Moon, She Whom the Fox Loves. This one is inspired by the Incan moon goddess Mamakilia. She represents comfort, protection, shelter and love, with a story telling of a fox who fell in love with her, hence the matte warm orange shade like its fur. So here are the shades, both using a finger and a blush brush. So those are the swatches. As you can see, you don't need much to apply some colour, but they're very buildable given their loose pigments, and I think the shades are really beautiful. So here's how they apply on my cheeks. I apply these loose blush pigments to my cheeks the same way as a pressed powder. The only difference is how I dip my brush into the product. I could dip my brush lightly into the jar, but I think the best controlled way is to dab a bit of the product into the lid, and then use the brush to pick up the product from the lid. Bingley's Blush and Cheeks actually applies very easily. Again, don't need much of this one at all to create a really nice deep finish. The shimmer is extremely subtle, so you won't notice too much of it. With this one, I think I just got to remember to shake the jar a little bit just to make sure I get a little bit of that shimmer. The other good thing is if you don't like too much shimmer, I think you'd get away with this shade. It's a nice muted rosy blush. Lady of the Stars, She Without Equal, needs a little bit more blending, which I expected from this shade. Blue, after all, isn't a natural complexion, so blend, blend, blend well, my friend. It's actually pretty cool. I mean, I feel like Morticia from the Addams Family, digging this kind of undead, haunted vibe. Mother Moon, Whom the Fox Loves, is a very easy shade to blend, and definitely gives a nice warm blush to the cheeks. The finish is a nice, warm, natural look. They have a lot more blush shades on their site if you're interested in other colours. My final thoughts are that these are very beautiful, unique pigments, especially for my collection. and I love the fact that they've been named and inspired by a story that's been told. For me, these loose pigments are very easy to use. If you wanted to, you could press them as a pressed powder. Either way, even if you get a sample, you get a good amount of product that you could wear a good number of times. For the quality, I think it's super affordable. If you have a go-to colour that you use on the daily, getting a full jar of this would last you for ages. Even a half jar, I reckon, would last quite a while. The wear's pretty decent. I think I got about 5, almost up to 6 hours without a primer, and it's the blue that faded the quickest. And with a primer, I can get it to 8 to 9 hours. Plus setting powder and spray, it might last just a little longer. It also depends on how much you apply. So if I applied less, then I think it would last between 4, maybe up to 7 hours. So that wear range is pretty good to me. Hopefully this is helpful if you are interested in checking Crow Pebble out. There is worldwide shipping available as well for my international friends, and it is worth remembering it's a one-woman operation, so there is a length of processing time between when you make your order to when that order goes out the door for delivery. I really enjoy using these blushes now. I use Bingley's Blushing Cheeks and Mother Moon quite often, and I'm looking forward to sharing the rest of the makeup with you as well. So let me know what your thoughts are. Do you use loose pigments at all, or have you used Crow Pebble before? What's your favourite blush at the moment? Comment below, and thanks for watching.